Oh, what is happening, Big Brown listeners? It is October 24th. It is about noon on this lovely Tuesday in Los Angeles. It is hot as balls in Los Angeles. It's been so toasty.
Incredibly hot.
Crazy hot, like a weird hot.
Out of
Alarming
nowhere.
hot.
Out of nowhere, over 100.
Alarming hot. I feel like everyone in here is sick right now. MJ, you're kind of getting over it. You have a cough. Chin, I
always
feel
have
like
the
you're
sniffles.
just sick. You're just the sick kid. You're always
Mr.
sick. You got the.
It's a runny nose.
It's never a 10 sick. You're like a 3.
Allergies in this building for some reason.
You think it's the AC?
Carpets. I always complain to MJ about the carpet smelling like feet.
In here?
Outside. No, outside.
It might have been those white truffles someone said this.
Maybe.
How bad do white truffles smell? We opened
Terrible.
the box after the show yesterday in the studio. It smelled like complete caca. So it was like old hummus and like baby diapers. It's so weird that they taste pretty good. I mean, I'm over them. I'm over truffles.
And you got sick from it too, so.
Yeah, upset stomach for sure. I think if you eat too much of anything, you're gonna get in trouble. It was weird, super weird. Man, it's good to be back. I'm getting a little sick myself. My son's been sick as fuck. He had pneumonia. Didn't get a lot of sleep last night, but I talked about it on Finding a Kid yesterday. Same thing today. Not a lot of sleep, but I'm all right. I have stand-up tonight at the Comedy Store.
Sweet.
I'd have to be on my deathbed to miss a show there. So I will be there tonight. I will see everyone there. It's a stacked one tonight. Let me look at the lineup so I don't forget anyone. I think it's sold out, but by the time you guys are listening to this, it is Joe Rogan, Sam Tripoli, George Perez, who is hilarious, Bert Kreischer, the machine, freaking Bert, one of my favorite people on this earth, Daryl Hammond from Saturday Night Live, Ari Shaffir, Sean Kerrigan, and Bobby Lee, and myself. Tonight, 8:30 at the Comedy Store. Yeah, it's stacked.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's a show Sam Tripoli puts on. I had a show last Thursday at the Comedy Store, and it was so cool for me because if you've listened to The Fine Kid, you've listened to this show before, any interview I've given, I talked about how Saturday Night Live was kind of, my obsession as a kid, kind of what led me to entertainment and what I'm doing now through Adam Sandler and everybody, man, everyone who's on the Saturday Night Live train. And it was so cool because last Thursday night at the Comedy Store, it was filled with Saturday Night Live alum and current Saturday Night Live, like all in the back. So you had Rob Schneider, Deuce Bigelow, you guys know Deuce Bigelow. So he did, I went after him. So he did his stand-up and then he introduced me, which is cool. And then, Davidson, he's the youngest.
Pete Davidson, right?
Pete Davidson, who's the youngest comedian and I think one of the youngest ever to be on Saturday Night Live. And it's rare I stop and watch people stand up because I usually go to the back, get my mind right, talk to everybody. I don't really get to see the show, but as I was coming in, Pete was on, and I'm talking, I was bent over laughing hard.
Wow.
He was hilarious. I've never seen a stand up. Obviously, he's on Saturday Night Live for a reason. He was brilliant. Brilliant. So you have Pete Davidson, you have Rob Schneider, David Koechner, who's on Saturday. I don't think a lot of people know that. He was on Saturday Night Live.
I didn't remember that.
Yeah, he was on there. And then they were just sharing like the stories of the head guy there. What's his fucking name? Lorne Michaels. Yeah, it was cool, man. For me, it's cool. I'm a Saturday Night Live geek, so it was cool. I'm looking forward to tonight. It's a special place. Other than that, man, we're getting a lot of things. How what happened to you guys being live? How you guys not going to be live anymore? What happened? Nothing happened. Obviously, we had some ups and downs with our live stream, but we need a bigger studio. Not like Rogan big, for God's sake. I don't know if you've ever seen his new studio. His studio is so big. It's like Fantasy Factory. How Rob Dyrdek got to a certain level. Yeah. It's like that big, but for a podcaster. So there's a archery range. There's a fucking cold tub, hot tub. There's a steam sauna. There's a cold chamber. There's a full gym. There's mats, bags. There's an archery range. There's places for him to park his cars, like indoor parking. There's a barbecue. There's like 3 studio spaces. It's so big. It's literally like, you ever seen that movie Blank Check?
No, I haven't.
You've never seen Blank? You're too young for Blank Check. First of all, it's on. I think excuse me, I think you can get on Netflix. Blank Check. This kid gets a blank check, man. And he it's a blank check and he writes it. I don't know at the time for what it was, but basically like $1 billion, he can do whatever he wants. That's Joe Rogan right now. He's a kid from Blank Check, but he's almost 50.
Yeah.
So he's just doing, you think if you could do whatever you want, that's what he did. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty
That sounds really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Dear God.
It's really cool. He's, I don't know how many podcasters are out there who are able to do that. You see like a lot of YouTubers being able to do it.
Yeah.
But, podcasting is so big. I think you're going to see a lot more of it. Obviously, Joe Rogan's at the forefront of that, but you're going to see, I think, a lot more guys getting to that level, which is cool. I don't know how I guess. Oh, so the live thing. So our studio, I don't know if you guys can tell by the one camera we have, but it's pretty small. It's basically, it's narrow. So we don't have a ton of space. Yeah. So when we brought in our boy to kind of do some of the live streaming stuff, it added even more equipment and cameras, and there was no space. So before we decided to hunker down and put all that together, we decided we need a new space. We're going to stay in the same building. We just need a bigger space, so we're going through that now. So before we put all the gear in here, redo the studio, and go live, we're going to wait till we transition into a new space, a bigger space.
I love it.
Because we're I mean, it is snug as a bug in here.
Pretty snug.
Yeah.
It's snuggy. It's snuggy. So that's the plan. Live's not going where that's still the move. That's still the next step for Fire and Kid and Big Brown Breakdown. But probably say a month we should be able to get rolling in the new studio. And we're looking at spaces today here. So that's what's going on with live. Don't worry. I see you guys like, what the hell happened to live? How dare you? That's the plan. Just got to execute it better. And more space. More space is the key. There we got some Big Brown Breakdown tees releasing. The idea came from, I forget why. I think it was a text chain. Someone said, describe your life in emojis. And I did a coffee cup, some weights, and a mic for stand-up and podcasting. And then that became the next Big Brown tee. Those released tomorrow night on tfatk.com. Simple, fun shirt, soft as shit as usual. tfatk.com tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific. Baby, always 5 p.m. Pacific. I don't know why. I know we get complaints international, but we can't make everyone happy. You got to release something. In the fight world, what's going on in the fight world? I mean, over the weekend you had the Fight Pass fight between Darren Till and Donald Cerrone. Mm-hmm. It was tough to watch, as a friend of Donald's, as a fan of Donald's, as a a training partner of Donald's for many years, and running the same circles. It's tough to watch just because, when this fight was announced, I said, why would the pros and cons of Donald taking this? It just doesn't make a lot of sense. And obviously, when I say that, I'm thinking worst case scenario, which is exactly what happened. When I made those comments and it pissed off Till, I get it 100%. He has every right to be pissed off. I'm a huge fan of him now. He might be my favorite welterweight. I'm that guy. I'm on the Darren Till train now. So hopefully there's room on that train. Everyone's jumping on it. But when I break down that fight, I first saw that fight, my initial flinch reaction was oh my God, what happens if Donald fights this dude on Fight Pass? Which, let's be honest, I'm not hating on the UFC. I'm not hating on Fight Pass. But it's not that big of a reach. No one's really watching that. So for Donald, you're fighting this guy no one really knows about. In mainstream, no one really knows who Darren Till is. He's a monster. He's a K1 European champion. He's freaking huge. He walks around in high 190s, fights, at 70. Stylistically for Cowboy doesn't make a whole lot of fucking sense at all. So that was my initial flinch reaction. Well, what's the worst that could happen? You saw it. You saw exactly what was the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario for Donald Cerrone did happen. And I think a lot of people go, God, did you see? I view it different. People go, even on the campaign, I was like, God, how about Donald? How about Donald? We're talking about Donald. We also are talking about Darren Till, obviously. But my initial reaction, oh, fuck, what about Donald? My initial reaction was, shit, how about Darren Till? My God, that kid is a monster. And then you look at things and you look at the division where it's at, and he's only 25. Kid's gonna give people a lot of problems for a very long time. So it's just the beginning for that kid. So shout out to Darren Till. I think, what he did to Cowboy, especially in that fashion, I don't see how you don't rank him in top 10. He's undefeated. He doesn't have really, I think he has one draw, but he doesn't have really, he has one draw in the UFC. So he's undefeated. He has no kind of glitch in his record. So, I think you got to rank the kid top 10 because undefeated. All right, well, let's give the kid a test. Till-Cerrone, Jesus Christ, that's a test. And he just steamrolls through him. You got to put him in top 10. Mm-hmm. You got to put him in top 10. And, his next fight should be a top 10 guy. I wish the UFC would do this more, but that's just the nature of the game. But there are more guys on the roster where they can do this. Don't catapult him into fighting a top 3 guy right now, top 4 guy. Obviously, he called out Mike Perry for a reason. I think it's brilliant on his part. But give these guys time to grow. Give these guys, especially a guy like Darren Till, who we saw that, but in the grand scheme of things, not a lot of people saw that. The headline from that fight was Till-Cerrone loses the fight, not Darren Till walks through him. It's more of, should Donald retire? What's next for Donald? And Donald's had his, still has his career, but he's had a great career and he's been Till-Cerrone. We love the Cowboy and he's, has his fame and he's been ranked in the top 10 forever and has title shots and WC champion, all that stuff. And that's great. But to me, it's the excitement is the Darren Till here and what we have in that now. But it's on Fight Pass. So, his next fight, hopefully gets a little more attention. People start paying attention to it, but Fight Pass didn't do anyone any favors. So, and that was my kind of ill will towards this fight with Till-Cerrone. The other thing with Till-Cerrone is we love Donald because he's the Cowboy. I'll fight anyone, anytime, anywhere. That works if this was the UFC 6 years ago. That kind of game plan that we love Cowboy for and we love Nate Diaz for when, remember he was always the guy, let's fight. I'll fight anyone, anytime, anywhere. I don't care who it is. 5-6 years ago, that was fun. The game has evolved now where it's such a business and guys are so good at everything and it's just old school. It's an old school way of thinking. I don't know if you can pull it off anymore with the weight cuts, the competition level, fighting that much. I don't know if it's realistic to fight that much at a high level and be one of the best in the world. Because the best in the world aren't doing that all the time. Champions in the UFC fight maybe twice a year, realistically. It's like the Super Bowl every time for them. So I just think that way of fighting, Donald's the last guy who's going to be able to do that. Look at Neil Magny. Look how it's worked out for him. Remember Neil? I think he fought the most in a 12-month period of any time. More than Cowboy. I think he beat Cowboy's record. Mm-hmm. But you look at Neil Magny, it hasn't worked out, has it? Eventually, it just the sport's evolved. Imagine if Tom Brady, those guys complain, it's a little different, obviously, but those guys complain when they have to play on a Thursday night and then turn around and play on a Sunday. It's awful for their body. In professional sports, especially when it's a combat sport, it's just, it's old school, man. We might as well go back to the fighting twice in the same night or 3 times in the same night. It's just the sport evolves, man, and we're seeing it. We're seeing it in these older guys where they're just not able to do what they used to be able to pull off because the game's evolving. In front of our eyes, the game's evolving. Guys are getting better. Guys are getting younger. Guys are more well-rounded. Guys are better at cutting weight. So it's just, it's a tough go. It's a tough go for guys who want to, constantly chase that and be the guy who they call upon when you'll fight him wherever. Yes, we can't do that anymore. It doesn't really work out. It's worked out in Donald's favor because he's so game and he's a superstar now, but he's not making life-changing money. When you go, whoa, he makes whatever, $500,000 a fight. True. When I talk life-changing, I'm talking retired off into the sunset. I'm talking pay-per-view points, Conor McGregor money, some of these Ronda Rousey, Brock Lesnar, like those. When you get points and it's a huge pay-per-view, that's life-changing money. This is just being paid as a professional fighter at a high level, but you're not. There's no 401k. There's no retirement plan for you with that kind of money. You're living. Especially when you're Cowboy and you're living, by the seat of your pants and you're doing all this crazy stuff. And so I think it's it's good that you want to fight all the time, and it's good you'll fight anyone anywhere, and you're fighting Poland on the Fight Pass and stuff like that. But managers and agents, the UFC is going to be the UFC. UFC is going to wring you freaking dry. That's every professional league. They're going to, whatever you're going to take, they're going to take it for all they're worth. That's what they do. That's like being upset that you buy a pet tiger and it fucking claws you in the face. It's doing tiger shit. Tigers do tiger shit. Don't be upset when that tiger claws you in the fucking face. Or you buy a chimpanzee and you're giving it fucking Valium and having champagne with it. And all of a sudden it's like, you know what? I just realized I'm a chimpanzee living in the suburbs of Detroit, and you got me in a fucking robe with a cigar, always trying to suck my dick. I'm going to do some chimpanzee shit and rip your face and hands off. That's what chimpanzees do. So the UFC is going to do what sports leagues do. The NFL is going to do what the NFL does. It's going to get every ounce of you, everything. And as soon as you can't meet those demands, see ya. They're doing what professional leagues do. So you got to know the type of beast you're dealing with. Agents have to know that. So I don't blame the UFC here. If I'm the UFC, I'm doing exactly what they're doing. It's a business model. It's Donald the Cowboy Cerrone. I'm gonna book him on all these. He's taking them. He's a big draw. People love to see him fight like this. He likes it. Let's do it. That's fine. That's fine and dandy. But it shouldn't be a Donald to Dana White conversation. It should be Donald, agent, Dana. Donald, I want to fight. I want to fight. Agent, not the smart. Poland. Have you looked at the footage on Till? I know you don't watch Fight Tape. He's a fucking monster. It's a bad idea. He cuts a lot of weight. He's a monster. Dana, I still want to do it. Agent, give us something more high profile. He just fought Robbie Lawler. Some people thought he won. Dana, no. Cool. We're not taking the Poland fight. What's next? Give Donald more rest. He's coming off 2 losses. Had the Jorge Masvidal fight. So that's the way there should be a middleman. The fighter, in every case, most of the time, is say yes, 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 yes. The promoters can say yes, 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 even if it's a terrible fight for the fighter. The manager, the agents should be they're the middleman. They're the gate for a reason. But mixed martial arts is so new in the grand scheme of things as far as professional sports, where a lot of these managers, agents, they're not very good. I hate to tell you, man. I've had a lot of agents, a lot of managers from sports. Now I'm in entertainment. I have the biggest, best agent in entertainment. I've had the biggest, best agents in fighting. You're talking apples and oranges. I've had big agents in football. They've been around so long. In order to be an agent in football, you have to have a law degree. You want to be an agent in mixed martial arts, Chin?
No.
Well, let's say you did. You could be one right now. There's no requirements.
Interesting.
There's nothing. MJ, you want to be a promoter? You want to be an agent? Cool, you're in. We just got to talk to some fighters and convince them to honey dick them to sign with you, and you're in. You're in. And it's not that agent or that manager's fault. That's the state that we're in. That's the infancy of mixed martial arts. So a lot of those guys, they're looking at Cal. Oh, it's a payday. It's this. It's that. And now you have the Reebok deal. So how are they really making money? They have to get creative. Unless you're a superstar, you're not getting a lot of outside sponsors. So, I blame his management. I don't blame Cowboy. Cowboy's always going to want to fight. It's a bummer, and it's 3 in a row for him. So where he goes from here, he's a guy you're always going to want to watch fight. But to end on this rant on a positive note, we got one in Darren Till. We got one. And you don't see a guy of his stature, his high level of striking, how calm he was in the cage, and just walking through a Hall of Famer like Till-Cerrone. We got one, man. And he has good takedown defense. He's big. He's had some experience. I like that his fights early in the UFC all went to decision. So he's had the ring time in the UFC. Bisping has he talks about this GSP fight being his last. So who's the face of England? Darren Till's from Liverpool, for God's sakes. So we need someone to carry that torch. When I say we, you in England. My mom's half English. So I can say we, you fucks. My mom's full English. I'm half, for God's sakes. So for Darren Till, it's kind of it's good timing. And we're seeing a lot of this, and we'll get into the card this week and the Brazil card with Machida Brunson. But and you have Colby Covington versus Damian Maia. you're starting to see the younger lions starting to take over these legends. It's this weird kind of passing of the torch. It's a bummer to see because, for a guy who's kind of in the same graduating class as a lot of these guys who are getting murked these days, it's tough to see. But that's the game. It's no different than the starting quarterback for 10 years who's a stud goes down and Tom Brady steps in. Drew Bledsoe goes down, Tom Brady steps in, or, any of these guys. Any of these guys in the NFL. Brett Favre goes down, you got Aaron Rodgers. So there's always going to be someone. And that's how you keep this going. That's how you keep it, alive. It's exciting. So shout out to Darren Till. I will never speak ill of him ever again. You're now my favorite fighter at 170, and I will tune into all his fights. I just hope it works out for him. I hope the UFC jumps on the Darren Till train. And I would have Darren Till front row at Madison Square Garden. I would, man, I'd really capitalize on this. I would air his fight against Till-Cerrone every night this week on Fox Sports. What else are you guys hearing? What else are you? We got baseball. I don't think that's on Fox, but you have baseball. Other than that, what's going on right now? You have the start of the NBA season, but goddamn, it's special talent. So I'd just be blasting out there. He has a great story. I would send the UFC embedded team right to him right now to walk us through his hometown, show us where you got stabbed, introduce us to your daughter, talk about your ex right now. Maybe we go down to Brazil, shoot a piece in Brazil. What happened down there in Brazil? Invest in these guys. What else are you doing? You're sure as fuck not hyping this Madison Square Garden Bisping GSP card because the hype's not there. The hype is not there. You have to generate that. You have, and it's one of our current events, and this is one I sent to Chin. Usually Chin selects all of them. I don't know what they are before the show, which is typically how I like it. But this one I sent because it's a little insert of how, a lot of people in today's pay-per-view model, and the fight night stuff like that, you're seeing a lower retention rate. You're seeing a lower buy rate for the pay-per-views. And it's all about, superstars, and I get that. But the cards have been solid lately. I'm not knocking these. The cards have been actually really good as of late. Really good. Mm-hmm. So, but if you're not balls deep in it, you're looking at like, no, I'm not buying that. $60 in today's economy, $60, and there's a lot of pay-per-views. Man, I don't know. And it's the Wrestling Observer, and Luke Thomas tweeted this out. This is where I got it, but it says, there's a shock. So the UFC did a marketing study. There was a result that surprised a lot of people and spoke to the changes in the fan base and rapid turnaround. There was a shockingly high percentage of the current pay-per-view buying audience that had never heard of George St. Pierre. As it turned out, a large percent of the pay-per-view audience around today came into the sport with Ronda Rousey and Conor McGregor and have no historical knowledge of its prior to that point in time. So, that's why, and again, I'm a George St. Pierre dick rider. I love the guy. I've trained with him. He's a friend of mine. I love George St. Pierre. But when you retire 4 years ago, you've missed this entire wave. It's just that thing about the UFC 4 years ago. We're moving at such a rapid pace. It's so hard to stay on board and go back and look. And you got this new guy and this show. And you got Conor over here. You got, Brock Lesnar. It's just this game's evolving like a motherfucker. So then GSP, you're losing those audience. And not to mention, I think this is the biggest, I shouldn't say the biggest. It's one of the factors why the UFC is having a down year. And it's because there's too many pay-per-views. There's too much content. It's not special anymore. For a guy like me, I can't get enough. I will watch everyone. Like, I said this on the companion. You go to my DVR, I got Access TV fights. I got PBS boxing. I got Showtime boxing. I got Showtime New Generation boxing on there. I got HBO, ESPN boxing, Bellator, any UFC. It's all of that, right? But for the general public, it's too much, man. It's too much. And I think with their TV deal, which is a game changer. This TV deal, usually there's red flags because we're not seeing a lot of movement with it right now. Usually this far out, because I think by next year they need to. It comes up next year, but usually have an idea where you're going to land. Right now, there's not a lot of buyers in the game, so that's a red flag. And I think it's whoever takes it over, whether it's Fox, they need the content. If I was a betting man, I would bet a lot of money it's going to be Fox because they're married to the UFC. UFC's married with them. They have the audience there. If you switch, it's going to be even more confusing. But also, Fox Sports needs the content. Fox needs all the material. What else? What are you going to fill the programming with? What are you going to do? So they kind of need it. So I think they're going to be the player in the game. Also, there's no other player. You're negotiating with yourselves. ESPN's out. CBS is out. There's not a lot of guys like vying at it. It's like buying a car or buying a house. Jesus Christ. I'm trying to buy a house right now on the west side. When you put an offer on the house, there's 7 other offers. So you're going trying to outbid each other. Well, think about if I just put an offer, there's no one else. I'm just dealing with the guy one-on-one. Probably can get the house. What are you going to do? There's no one else going to buy it. What the fuck are you going to do? I'll take it. I know you want whatever, $4 million. Nah, man, here's what I'm going to give you. There's no one else. Take it or leave it. So that's what's going on with them. So the model I would do is, I don't know how many pay-per-views and shows that they've had this year, how many pay-per-views they've had. I think 13. Sometimes they have 2 a month, typically at least 1 a month, always 1 a month, sometimes 2 a month. What I would do is I would make them super special, like back in the day, but even more so. We have more stars. I would do 4. I'd do 4 pay-per-views, but they're the fucking WrestleManias. It's stacked. Every fight is a main event you'd want to see. And there's 5 of them, and it is the who's who of the UFC. There's only 4 of them a year, though. We're going to get crazy fucking ratings, though. And we're going to market the piss out of it. All our focus on those 4. So what's that? That's 1 every 3 months. Then outside that, I have fight nights. I do that stuff. I do the Fox cards. But I have 4 classic bangers. Special posters around it. Every fight on there has their own countdown embedded, building up to it. I'm telling all the stories. I'm investing everything in those 4 huge cards. Make them super special. Make them events. They're stars at these things. I'm letting people know where they're at. I got 1 in Madison Square Garden. I got 1 in Dublin. I got 1 in England, and I end the year in Vegas. Boom, 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 boom. And they're just the Hall of Fame. They shit on UFC 200. They shit on UFC 100. It's all the stars. 4 a year. And then the other one, we have our fight nights. You have your good cards on Fox, stuff like that. But I go back to, and I know people go, well, they make their money off pay-per-view. I know, but how's it going for you this year? So that's what I would do. And you're going to gain a lot more interest. You're going to get a lot more people. If it's just 4 a year, but it's the best product you can put out, it's not so much quantity, it's more quality, you're going to get new viewers. It's same with the Conor McGregor-Mayweather fight. That one historic fight is huge. The average consumer tuned in because there's so much coverage. We all wanted to see what was going on. You know, it's a big event. But if they fight every month, your typical person is not going to tune in. Your buddies aren't coming to your house tuning in. But if there's 4, and we know there's 4, not money-wise and business-wise, obviously you're going to have to switch things up, but whatever you're doing is not working for this year because you don't have stars. You do, but you're not putting the best product out. You'd have to figure that out, but that'd be my idea. I just think it's too much. It's too saturated. We go back to the older model. And there's obviously a lot more fighters, but that's why you have like a Strike Force or WC where you have these young, hungry guys where that's on free TV. Tuesday night fights, Thursday night fights, the way boxing used to do it back in the day. But when we do the big cards, it's our home run hitters. There's no bullshit cards. There's no, you look at some of the pay-per-views and you're like, I guess I want to see that. I mean, I'm forced to see it because I bought the pay-per-view. No. We're talking every fight. You're not leaving your seat, man. That's what I'd do to get this bad boy.
If they were super huge cards, that'd be badass.
I'm talking Super Bowl 4 times a year. You'd have to have some money to carry the other stuff. You'd have to figure the other stuff out. Obviously, their business model is completely different when they're doing 16 pay-per-views. But like, there's a fight every night, or there's a fight every week till the end of the year. I think there's 13 fights coming up. And that's not including Bellator, but That's what I would do. I just think it'd be so much more fun that way. There'd be so much anticipation. You know? It's like that movie coming out and you're releasing these teasers and these trailers, and I think it'd be really, really special. Make it a special occasion. Do go different, go opposite of all the other sports. Like, I'm balls deep in football, man. I can't keep up with every game. You know, I know they're in seasons, and the UFC doesn't have a season, so this makes it kind of that season feel. Once every 3 months, everyone's going to tune in. Because, again, with football, I see some games, some I miss out on, because I know it's next week. I don't care. I'll see the highlights, whatever. Baseball, don't even get me started. Way too many goddamn games. And then all basketball, are you shitting me? I don't watch you'll watch the first few weeks just because there's all these, guys are out, in and out. They've been traded. It's the world of super teams now, so you want to see how they, gel and stuff like that. But then once it hits midseason, no one gives a fuck. So go different. Because remember, the UFC used to be different. That's what made us special. We used to be different. But now they want to be, a mainstream sport, which we are. But I would still keep it different. Do what got you to the dance. But there's going to be some guys, the UFC brass, who are listening to this, and they're the business guys going, that doesn't work for us, homeboy. That doesn't fucking work, Schaub. That's not going to work, man. We have to hit these marks. We have to hit this. Fox can do this. Fox wants to be, So I don't know all that. I'm saying if I was an alien from Mars, came down, looked at what you guys are doing, I'd go, I'd do this. I don't know what ties you have or what's going on here. That's what I would do.
I like it.
I don't know. If only it was that easy. If only it was that easy. Because look at the UFC in Madison Square Garden. Last time they were at Madison Square Garden, Conor McGregor, Eddie Alvarez. Special night, right? Are you telling me you have the same excitement and curiosity of UFC 217? No. Not at all. Not at all. It's just not there. And again, it's because, George St. Pierre, this is, and I love Bellator. You guys know Bellator. I've worked for Bellator. I love everyone involved with Bellator. But this type of move is a very old school Bellator-ish move. To bring in George St. Pierre to fight Michael Bisping. If you're balls deep in the sport, you're scratching your head going, well, okay, I'll watch it, but why are we doing this? Because Whitaker's hurt. All right. I guess that makes sense. But what happens if George wins? Oh, he'll never fight at 85 again. So then what happens to that belt? He'll just vacate it, then Whitaker's the real champ, and then, you know what I'm saying? It's just this weird. It's weird. Never once in my life have I ever heard anyone in any gym, any live show I've ever had go, dude, who wants to see George St. Pierre versus Michael Bisping? I've never heard. That's not a dream matchup. If you go on any forum, not that I've been on forums, I'm sure, but if you go on any forums, Reddit, anything, and they go top dream matchups of all time I'd make in the UFC right now, GSP Michael Bisping ain't one. I love both guys in their own lanes. They're amazing fighters. That's not a fight I'm dying to see. I can think of 1,000 other fights I'd rather see Michael Bisping take. I can think of 100 other fights I'd rather see GSP take. Mm-hmm. Just doesn't make sense for the division. And if we can't buy it, the hardcores can't buy it, which the hardcore I think is diminishing a little bit, especially when you look at pay-per-view numbers. But if the hardcores can't buy it, the general public sure as fuck ain't buying it. Because a lot of them don't know who George St. Pierre is, So, Madison Square Garden should be a special event. The rest of the card's amazing. Love the rest of the card. It's ridiculous. OSP versus Corey Anderson's on UFC Fight Pass? Why would they do OSP like that? After the fight, he just had the Von Flue choke again. He just hit it again. That's ringing the fighters out. What's best for UFC Fight Pass? Well, what's best for OSP? He's a monster. Sure as fuck being on Fight Pass isn't best for anybody. No one's really watching that, let alone if you're on the prelims on Fox Sports 1. That's frustrating for OSP. But what are you going to do? Rustguard, and we'll break it down when when he gets closer.
Yeah.
That's you're gonna have to spend time breaking down. I mean, Thompson, Masvidal. That's probably my. I don't know. I mean, if I had to list them, I mean, Wonderboy Thompson, Masvidal's 1A for my favorite fight on the card. Joanna Jędrzejczyk versus Rose. Then you got Garbrandt, TJ Dillashaw, which should be the main event. And then you got Bisping, GSP. Ridiculous card. If I was a betting man, I'd say it does between 400 to 600 pay-per-views.
That's a good bet.
No way it does $1 million. There's no way. There's no hype around it. And the way you get to $1 million is you're getting a lot of hype. And the beef between Bisping and GSP, I can smell the bullshit from here. It's not real. Michael Bisping's a good guy. He's always selling fights. He's one of the best at it, right? Getting the other guy pissed off. George is trying to be that, but you just see the game has changed since George has been there, man. It's just the shit talking is a complete different level. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're watching HD now, man. You're in the fucking local channels. When I watch GSP talk shit or I watch the beef between them, it's like, fuck's sakes, man. You're Nintendo. We're playing we're in virtual reality games on PS4. George St. Pierre's back on that Super Nintendo shit with his shit talking. It's just the game. People are like, what? Oh, God. You listen, even Chael Sonnen, you guys know I love Chael. When Chael talks shit now, it's literally like, oh, man, it'll hurt your feelings. It's so old school. It's like, fuck. It's like my dad talking shit. It's like he's from a Super Nintendo game. I love Super Nintendo. Biggest fan of all time. Go play Super Nintendo after playing Call of Duty or some shit on PS4. You're like, oh my God, they look like stick figures. So it's like when these guys talk shit, the game, Conor McGregor's like, give me that shit. He's the 4K. He's the PS4. He's the virtual reality. And you guys are going back in the day. So the fight doesn't make sense. Everyone's scratching their head. The belt's not real. You got this other champion, Whitaker, who's fucking definitely the best 85er in the world. And then you got GSP, who's from 4 years ago. And then you have Bisping and George St. Pierre with this fake beef together. It's just UFC. Everyone can smell it. It's bullshit. Will I watch it? For sure. Will I get hyped the week of? Probably, because I can't wait for the other fights. Cody Garbrandt, TJ Dillashaw, that is real. They hate each other. They have a history. You cannot make that up. Cody, still Team Alpha Male. TJ Dillashaw used to be there. They used to train together. There's a lot of history there. That's all real. But if you're not even, the Bisping GSP, that's on all the posters. That's on the thing. But I just feel like you'd be better off pointing the camera at Garbrandt, TJ Dillashaw, or Joanna Rose. I have to piss so bad again.
It's a good time to piss.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm back. I either drink too much fluids or I have diabetes. I piss so much. I think it's fluids.
Definitely fluids.
Yeah, I don't know. Diabetes running my family, so.
You eat a lot of sugar too, right?
No.
I always see you eating candy.
Only in here. It's very rare. The only time you see me is in here.
Yeah.
If there's candy around, I'll have it, but outside this, no, never.
Oh, okay.
Never.
Because I don't eat candy at all, like zero.
So you don't pee a lot?
I used to pee a lot when I drink like gallons of waters a day.
I drink so much coffee, it's a diuretic.
Yeah.
So that's why I piss so much. Because I got a venti iced coffee with almond milk, no sugar, no sweeteners, because I don't do any sweeteners anymore. And I had 4 cups this morning. How many cups of coffee is in a venti?
Probably at least 2.
At least?
Yeah.
2 to 3?
2, 3, yeah.
I say 2.5.
So 2.5 servings.
So I'm like 7 cups of coffee deep. Plus I had a water when I worked out this morning.
Hot damn.
How big is your water?
I mean, just like a smart water.
Okay.
I drink it right after I work out. Plus I had a protein shake, like the Onnit shakes I do post-recovery, which is almond milk.
Mostly liquid.
Liquid. Apples, carrots in there. All liquid shit when you mix it up. So I drink a ton of fluids by the time I come in here. So I think it's more of that.
Have you ever got tested? I mean, of course you get tested, right, for like pre-diabetes things?
Last time I got tested in college because they thought because I was always tired. I'm always tired now, but I'm always working. But in college, I was always tired, so they had me tested because diabetes does. My dad has it. My grandpa had it. So there's I think they said a 50% chance my brother and I get it.
Wow.
But we live healthy lifestyle and work out, so it lowers our odds. But they thought in college I had low testosterone. And at the time, there's no TRT. There's nothing. They're just like, you need to figure it out. Told me like eat yams and shit.
So they didn't know for sure. They just thought you might.
I got my blood test and I had like low like it was like mid 300s or 400s, which for a college kid is awful.
Yeah.
But it wasn't to the point where, they never, especially in college football, they weren't going to prescribe me testosterone. It'd been awesome if they did. But yeah, so. That was the last time we got tested for diabetes. I don't think I have it. I just drink a shitload of fluids. And this week I've drank, past couple of days even more, I've just lived off coffee because, I was up at 5 this morning with my son. So 5, I get here at noon, so I'm having a shitload of coffee before I come in here. So that's where we're at with that.
Cool.
We'll move on from fucking... I'm trying not to cuss so much too. We'll move on from Madison Square Garden card. We'll wait for it. It's next week, right?
Yeah, next week.
Is it next? No, it's 2 weeks.
Next week, I think.
Halloween's next week, right?
Let's check it out. Not this upcoming weekend, but the weekend after. So it is next weekend.
It's next Saturday.
Yeah.
I have a show on Friday. Calusa Casino. Get tickets now. I have a show on the 3rd in Calusa. That's NorCal. So the 4th, thank God I'll be home for the 4th to watch this fight card. And then Halloween's on the Tuesday. Next Tuesday. You do anything for Halloween, MJ?
I'm going to a show on Friday in San Bernardino. So
what kind of show? What do you mean show?
It's called Escape.
What is it?
It's like kind of like that Flosstradamus I showed Brian and you the one time.
But you dress up?
You dress up. I think I'm going to be Baby Doll from Sucker Punch. I still don't even have an outfit.
Bring up Baby Doll from Sucker Punch for me, Jen. Baby Doll from Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch is a movie?
It's a movie, yeah. I think I need to order on Amazon today so it comes in time.
She's like, so what's your outfit? That outfit?
Yeah.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah,
you just need a blonde wig?
Yeah. Just go a little blonder. So.
She's like a badass in the movie?
Pretty badass. I've seen bits and pieces.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And so this Friday you're going to go to?
This Friday, but I don't know what I'm doing.
It's just a Halloween themed party? You're just going with a bunch of friends?
Yeah, it's a big group of us. It's like 4 cars of us that are going.
4 cars?
Yeah.
And it's like...
rolling out to it.
Now, is it basically a rave, what you do? Would you say? It's a rave.
It's a rave,
kids call it, what do you call it?
Just a festival.
A festival.
Yeah.
Raves have turned into festivals.
That's, pretty much. Like
how long, when's it end?
I believe like 1:30 or 2.
Oh, so that's not a rave's all goddamn night.
They have ones that are all night, like Electric Daisy Carnival. That's in Vegas. That goes from start to finish. Dusk till dawn.
That's a nightmare. So,
yeah,
not for
a lot. So I don't know. I don't have to pay for the tickets. I have friends that work for Insomniac. I've worked for Insomniac, so I was like,
that's cool.
I like the band Neuro, or the DJ set.
Oh, I know Neuro.
You know Neuro?
I know Neuro.
What?
Yeah.
How was it?
He, great tune.
So
that's what you're gonna do for Halloween.
Yeah, I think so.
Dressing up a Sucker Punch.
Yeah.
Chin, at 40, do anything for Halloween? I feel like you're not a Halloween guy.
Hell no.
Have you ever done anything?
Yeah, we did before.
What do you mean we?
Me and my friends. I got a lot of friends, and we would have just huge Halloween parties.
But now
and dress up, and we have our own competitions between all of us. Yeah.
That's fun.
It's fun.
Different animal.
You have a son?
My son.
Yeah.
We're all dressed. We're all going to be skeletons. We all got matching
That's cool.
outfits. Last year he was a dinosaur, but I called him a lizard, and that did not go over well. But last year he was a cute little dinosaur. I'll probably take him down like Montana Street in Santa Monica. They do a bunch of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Nothing crazy. I'll watch scary movies every night leading up to Halloween.
Yeah.
How are you with the candies and all that stuff with your kid? Do you let him eat all, like a bunch when
he's so young? Do you know what's weird about him? He does it, not weird. He's 21 months old as of 3 days ago. He's not into sweets. Like I have like these organic cookies around the house that he'll eat one of those, but he likes fruit as far as sugar, but he's never had candy. He's never had candy. Like it's not. We don't have it around the house really. I mean, I'll have my wine gums like stashed away from me. I don't even share those with his little ass. But he's not. It's not really into it.
That's so cool. I always see at the store those kids are like screaming right at checkout because they want the candy bars, and the parents are freaking
I'm sure
out.
he'll be that kid. Just right now, he's just not into it.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was growing up, my dad just didn't know. Like I'd come home from school before football practice, have like 3 scoops of ice cream, a hamburger, and just do whatever the fuck I wanted.
Yeah.
Like, they just had no idea.
Sodas.
Yeah,
Like
sodas.
regular sodas.
I would in between, at halftime of games, we'd down Coca-Cola. Like it's just so bad. It's a different time now.
Yeah.
For him, like you don't want to have the kid who's never had chocolate, and then you have that daughter who's never had chocolate, and she gets to college and she's fucking eating all the chocolate and sucking every dick she can. You don't want that. So, you listen. He needs to be a kid, so you let him have some fun, but you can't go fucking Charlie and Chocolate Factory crazy. You can't have it all the goddamn time.
Yeah.
So right now he gets a cookie like I don't know once every 3 days or some shit.
Wow.
He's like freaking out. I'm like, hey, you want a cookie? Dad saves the day. Let's go on the current events. I feel like I've been talking for a while.
Sounds good. First one is Conor McGregor. So after the fight with Artem Lobov and Andrew Feely, he was walking Artem backstage to the locker room, and he just whispered, like, "Oh yeah, Andre's a F word. We knew he was an F word. The homophobic slur."
Yeah, which I don't really like saying it either. It's such a tough term. We grew up. A lot of people grew up saying that stuff. Unfortunately, I'm not advocating to use the word, but that I don't think he's referring to them as liking other men. Does that make sense? I'm not someone's go, "Oh, that guy's a bitch." Like that guy's a little bitch. Mm. It's like, is he an actual bitch? Is he, dude, that's gay. Well, like if a car pulls up and someone goes, "Oh, that's gay." Well, we're not referring to the car having butt sex with men, or the car, if it was a female car, liking other women. It's just a term. Obviously, it's a horrible term, but it's in your vernacular growing up. Like, oh, it's gay, man, which is a bummer. But I really don't think Conor McGregor's anti-gay. I don't think he's homophobic. I think, obviously he's very close with Artem. Very close. For him, a guy of his stature to take time out of his schedule to come to Poland, support him. He's obviously very passionate. He had to be told to sit down during the fight because he's trying to corner him, give him instructions. So I think him and Artem have a very close, tight-knit bond. And you're emotional. Now, I'm not saying you should use the F word that rhymes with ragged. I'm saying you shouldn't use that word. Yeah. But in that context and in the heat of battle, and no one's filming you, or that you don't think, and you don't think you're on record, you're saying literally anything to make your friend feel better after a loss like that. I truly don't think Conor McGregor's anti-gay or homophobic. Yeah. But this is the day and age we live in. Everything's recorded, and this gets out there, and he should know better not to use this, especially he had his incident during the Mayweather Mac tour. So live and learn, but he's by no means anti-gay or homophobic.
Yeah. Let me ask you a personal question. When you're younger, when we didn't know back in the days, right? When we were younger, I remember I threw out that word too before when I was younger. Yeah. Before I realized how bad it was. Mm-hmm. And then as you get older, you're like, holy crap.
You just mature and
you never say it again.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So at this day and age, Conor should know not to say it, period.
He should know what to say. You gotta realize Conor's also pretty young too, man.
He's very young.
He's young. Again, I'm not giving him a free pass. Like, for sure, don't use that word. Even call him that, like, to me, it just doesn't make sense. I guess the world that I live in, like, tonight if I'm at the Comedy Store and a comic gets off stage and some guy goes, "That guy's a F," calls me a rag, I'd like, Jesus Christ, relax, man.
That's hardcore.
Jesus. Yeah. Now, if they're actually gay and use that, I don't have any friend who would refer to someone as that. I don't. I just don't. It's like if a black guy got off stage and he dropped an M-bomb. No one in my circle would be cool with it. They'd be like, Jesus, what the fuck's wrong with you, man? What's wrong with you? Like, there's not. So I just think, he was comfortable, thought he was just talking to Artem. It was emotional. His friend just lost. He's talking about retirement. So But also with Conor, and again, he's a superstar, and he's the biggest star ever in UFC history. He's even crossed over into pop culture now. He's the face of fighting in general. Now that Floyd's gone, and what's his next move? He should know better.
Yeah,
I'll give you a few freebies, but then if you keep going down this road, well, then you're just being ignorant. So you get another freebie. You had the one on the press tour. Now you get this one. If it happens again, we got a problem. Meaning we have a problem, society's going to have a problem with you.
Yeah.
What else you got?
All right, so since we're on Artem, have you seen his record? He's like 13-14 right now, his overall record.
Super salty.
Yeah. So he wants the UFC to release him so he can try boxing, and he'd like to take on Malignaggi. What do you think of that?
I mean, listen, Artem's he's a tough customer. I actually enjoy watching him fight. I get it, with that salty record, he wants to get out and try boxing. I don't think Paulie would come out and fight Artem. It just doesn't make a lot of sense for Paulie. I think, Paulie's just banking on maybe Conor taking that fight down the road. So if he fights Artem, that fight goes out the window. So that's definitely not happening. So if he wants to try his hand at boxing, he can, but you're not going to get a guy. So Artem says here, so Labov was then asked if he had any opponents in mind for boxing, and maybe one with McGregor's former sparring partner turned rival Paulie Malignaggi. Artem says Paulie wouldn't be a bad fight. I know he's after a big payday. He's retired, so he might not be interested in a fight against me, but if he was, I would be all in for it. So let's just break that down. He put, Paulie wouldn't be a bad fight. Mm-hmm. This is the key here. I know he's looking for a big payday. Well, Artem, I like Artem. I think he's a great person. I think he's actually a good fighter. It's just things haven't gone his way. But when he says, I know he's after a big payday, this wouldn't be a big payday. Mm-hmm. No one's paying up for a pay-per-view versus Paulie versus Artem. It's not there. Paulie wouldn't come out of retirement to fight Artem. I know that for a fact. Yeah. He would not come out of retirement to fight Paulie. He would come out of retirement to fight Conor because the notoriety and the money that would come with fighting a guy in Conor McGregor. Not Artem, though. But good luck to Artem in boxing. Good for him wanting to get out. Yeah, 14-13 is tough. What else you got?
Let's check this out. Oh, yeah. So Norman Park, the winner of the Tough Smashes, he was at KSW 40 in Poland. And so his opponent poked him in the eye twice, 2 different rounds. And then the fight got called a no contest. So then afterwards, Norman Park went up to Gamrot's team, and he pushed one of the guys, and the one of his team guys clocked him with a left hand right here.
So he pushed him because he thinks they were poked. God damn, his coach obviously trains through a nasty left hook.
I'm sure he just came up to him to say, like,
that's bullshit.
That was BS, yeah, for poking me in the eyes.
When did Norman Park get cut? He was an exciting fighter, man. I like that, watching him fight.
That is a very good question.
That cornerman, well, I don't know. This is in Poland. If you're in America, you're screwed as a cornerman. You hit at the fighter. I don't know out there, though.
Yeah, there was no update on what happened to the cornerman either.
Damn, he's been out of the UFC for a minute. Well, since 2016.
End of 2016?
Oof, he had a tough go in the UFC, didn't he?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
Well, he started off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-0, then loss. Damn, he was 20-4, loss, win. Yeah, tough little go. He won by decision, so they ran this fight back for the lightweight championship. Dang, that sucks. They get poked in the eye. Yeah, it's a bummer. Shout out to Norman Park. I like that guy.
So
watch your eyes, son.
How he pushed that guy first, do you think it was justified that the other dude can smack him?
No, the cornerman should never be able to punch the fighter. That's some dumb shit. What else you got?
I agree. All right, so Dana White says that allowing more weight divisions doesn't take away the weight cutting issues. What do you think about that?
Let me scroll down. So Dana says people are like, add weight classes, do this, do that. It's never going to change. You're still going to have people trying to, let's say I had a 165-pound weight class. That will only mean bigger guys will try to make 165. Everyone's always looking for advantage. I get his point where he's like, well, it's always going to be an issue, but I think if you have more weight classes, it's going to be less of an issue. Like, of course, you have an issue. That you're always gonna have an issue with weight class of guys trying to be the bigger, stronger guy, cutting down, which other guys can't cut that weight, so they have a size advantage in the octagon. But to say that it's always gonna be an issue, we shouldn't change it. That's such a small-minded way to think. You know, I think you have to address that there is an issue, because obviously in 55 and 70 is where guys miss the most weight. So you got to do something there. Maybe try it with 65 and just see what happens. If you have the same issue, then you're all right, we shouldn't add more. What happens if you add it, which doesn't take anything away from whatever you're trying to do? You add it and guys are actually, it's pretty successful. Then you got a model. Then you can add it to between, 205 and heavyweight. Then you have a 225. Man, well, now that's fun. Then you can, you don't have to go all in with 10 different new weight classes. Try it at 65. What if it worked out? Because what you're doing now isn't working. It's a real issue for 55s and 70s. Kevin Lee, the best example is Nagomedov. Khabib, I mean, that's a real shame what he's going through. One of the best fighters in the world, non-existent. No one really cares to see him fight anymore because he has to pull out. He had liver failure. He's trying to kill himself making this weight. I just don't see, if you're willing to give out all these interim belts, the fuck's a new weight class? It's not going to hurt.
Yeah, and there are bodies that it's just this, it's so close to not being able to make 155, but if they went to 170, they're just way too small for everyone.
Middle
right?
ground. Same, 206, 205 is, light heavyweight to heavyweight's insane. There should be somewhere in between. Again, it's a numbers thing. There's not a ton of heavyweights in general. You like light heavyweight, they're all dinosaurs, but I don't think it's going to hurt if you add a 220 or 225 pound weight class and then a 165 pound weight class. That's what I would start with. See if it's a success and move on from there. It can't hurt. So many guys are missing weight at 55 and 70. It's fucking up all your cards. Why not try it? Very small-minded way of thinking. What else you got?
This one. When you guys were on the Fight Companion, the most recent one, Rogan said, well, you kind of discussed this already. The MSG ticket sales are not going as well as they would hope. Yeah. The UFC would hope. And also that GSP is looking a little soft. And there's some pictures here from the underground that got screen caps.
I know, but is that a newer picture of GSP?
They said it was from the UFC 217 promo.
Yeah. It's been 4 years. You got USADA now. He's thick, son. He's thick like a musketeer, 3 Musketeers thick. Those candy bars are so thick. I know we say Snickers than a Snickers, but
you said that before too.
Thicker than a Snickers don't make a 3 Musketeers is so goddamn thick. That's why I use 3 Musketeers. They're so goddamn thick. The fight's gonna be interesting. What if George comes out looking like that, thick, out of shape, and looks like shit?
Is that really out of shape though? I think it looks big.
That's out of shape for George for sure.
For George, I guess so. Yeah. He's super ripped.
He looks like Johnny Hendricks there.
I wouldn't go that far.
Very square body there, where George is typically shred city.
Yeah.
So for George, if he comes to fight Bisping like that and he's slow, you're screwed. Especially his cardio at 85. Who knows? It's George St. Pierre though. He's a mastermind. So I doubt he's going to come in looking like that. If he does, I got Bisping all day. What else you got?
This is a quick one. Jesse Taylor, the guy that just got caught for not passing USADA tests, he said is over tainted dick pills as well.
Don't buy it. Bullshit. What else you got? Sick of the dick pill thing.
I know, right? Okay, so TJ Dillashaw and Cub Swanson are trying to start a new type of team where it's a non-profit gym. It's private invitation only. And they're not taking money from anyone, so they're investing into their coaches and everything else. So instead of the coaches taking a percentage of their purse, they're paying them to be there in the gym. I mean, when you paid your coaches, how'd you do it?
A percentage of my fight purse.
So you never paid them a certain salary or anything.
I mean, when I first not a salary. Jesus, you'd have to be balling to pay salaries. So people do for sure, but most guys pay a percentage.
So they're changing that up. They'll be
Interesting.
paying They'll be paying them like regularly.
I mean, you're gonna get better coaches, quality coach, because it's tough if a coach is living off one fighter full time. So in my case, you had Shane Carr making all this money and he's paying 10%. And if Shane doesn't fight because he has an injury, then your coach is like, "Come on, man, we got to figure things out." So this makes sense. But where are they doing it at?
I don't know.
Powerful virus. Where is it at? Gyms are just such a freaking tough go, man. I mean, obviously they're not doing it to make money. Maybe they just want a training facility for themselves, especially MMA gyms. God, it's tough to make money. Again, they're not doing it. They're probably just doing it for a place to train under one roof. It's a good concept. They've obviously tried the other models, and it didn't really work out. We've seen how those go. So best of luck to them. I love TJ and Cub. Both great guys. What else you got?
Cool. Vitor Belfort put on his Instagram that he'll be taking on Uriah Hall January 14th. What UFC is that?
Uriah Hall fought who last time? It was a great fight. Knocked the dude out. He was in trouble early on.
Let's look.
Come on, memory.
Christoph Jotko.
Jotko, yeah. He's ranked like number 9. It was a great fight. Yeah, performance of the night. It was a really good fight. He got injured early on. I mean, you look at, with Uriah Hall, he has so much goddamn talent. He's such a monster. I've been in the training room with him. He's such a nightmare. Whenever he fights like the elite competition, except for his one fight against Mousasi, he typically loses. If this is Vitor Belfort Brazil, where it's,
It is.
and if they let him fucking have some fun, and he's juiced to the gills, and he got gills hanging off his traps, Uriah's in trouble. But it's a fun fight. There's gonna be some. I would be willing to bet there's a spinning back kick in this fight. Just gonna go out on a limb here. One of the two of them are gonna throw a spinning back kick. I'd definitely take Uriah Hall in this fight. What else you got?
Quick one. Since Cain Velasquez is really soft-spoken, doesn't really make much of a noise.
Great guy, yeah, doesn't have a lot to say.
Well, he just recently said in an interview about Jones taking PEDs that it's effing bullshit.
So it was someone like, "Hey, what do you think of the John Jones situation?" He went, "This is fucking bullshit." He put, "It all comes down to people being dirty. Like our gym, me, Daniel, we don't need extra substance to make us better. We do it by working hard. We've done this since we were kids. We learned how to train right. Well, easy on train right. You guys are always hurt, but you do have a lot of champions. But train right's a topic for another day. To train right, and go out there and be competitive. So if you bring steroids or just some kind of performing enhancing drug into it, it's just not allowed. It's not allowed. Want everyone to be on the same page. So for him to do that, for John Jones to do that, that's bullshit. That's fucking bullshit. Did you not want to lose to Daniel? Is that why it was? Why?
He's backing up his boy, but
He's back. I mean, he's right. Like when John Jones, and he's a repeated offender of it.
yeah, the story here is just him saying effing bullshit. I think that's the main thing.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like a guy to say that stuff.
What else you got?
Mark Hunt, since he was taken off his Sydney card because of the words that he said, he said, why are they not removing GSP from his fight when he talked about seeing aliens?
Well, there's brain trauma CT, and then there's just crazy. Like GSP for the longest I've known he's been scared of aliens. I don't think that's a brain trauma thing. He had an escape. I don't know. I assume people, when they're doing the countdown show, he can't. They couldn't show some of it because in his house he had an escape route if aliens came.
Oh no!
And sometimes he can't sleep because of the aliens. So, but he's always been like that. That's GSP's thing. So,
oh wow!
If a guy believes in aliens, so are it's no different than let's say Tony Ferguson, because he's associated with Eddie Bravo, thinks the world is flat. Should he not fight either? Well, no, it doesn't mean he has brain trauma. For whatever reason, he thinks the earth is flat. for whatever reason, George St. Pierre's terrified of aliens. It's not brain trauma. He's been like that since day one.
It's a escape route. That's freaking crazy.
Yeah. I mean, if you're that scared of aliens, you think they're coming, why not? It's a bad argument for Hunt. I'm with, I can get Hunt, how he's upset. I get that. He has to take, some kind of heat for his words and some responsibility for his words. But saying, GSP believes in aliens, that's not the same, man. GSP's not saying, bro, I've been hit in the head so many times, I think I see aliens.
Yeah.
That's a different story. No, GSP believes aliens on this earth and they're taking people. It's always been like that. Eddie Bravo thinks the world is flat. He's always thought like that. It's not brain trauma. It's not the weed. It's just what they believe in. What else you got?
Okay, so Dana, some commenter on Dana's Twitter just said after the Till-Cerrone fight, he goes, damn, man, that face got pounded. And Dana went on a huge, long tirade about this guy.
So hold up. At Baby Balls, awful Twitter name. Awful. Do you hate women? Do you hate getting girls? Or if you're gay, balls. Even if you're gay, not that I care, but at Baby Balls. Anyways. So Dana went off on this dude putting, damn, that man's face got pounded?
Yeah.
Dana put, I'm sure he's getting a lot of shit online.
Yeah.
Why he reads all that is crazy, but he put, and I'm trying not to cuss, but this is Dana's words, not mine. Shut the fuck up, you pussies. All caps. This kid just put on an unbelievable performance against a fucking legend and badass motherfucker in, again, that's all capitals, at Cowboy Cerrone. When fighters step in, they win or they lose. Cowboy has been on both sides and showed total class as usual and praised Darren Till. You people on social media are the biggest crying fucking pussies I have ever seen. I love Cowboy. He fought and lost tonight. It happens, so shut the fuck up, all caps. My favorite through all this is Ben Folk. Shout out to at Ben Folks MMA. Put, even when I agree with the basic point Dana White is making, he makes it tough to be like, wow, yeah, well put, Dana. I mean, listen, the face of your company going on social media doing this, you either love it or you hate it. I think it depends what boat you're in, what side you want to take. The passion Dana has, for the fighters and how he is involved in social media way more than any other owner or president of a professional sports league is like none other. At the same time, if you're an investor, if you're WME, if you're Harley Davidson, Dodge, Monster Energy drink, Kobe Bryant's new drink, I don't know if I want the face of my company, the guy making decisions, doing that. But again, it depends what boat you're in. You might love it or hate it. Like, oh, I like how he's on social media speaking up stuff like that. Now, is it the most articulate tweet I've ever seen? No, but he's defending one of his fighters, so I like that, this is the thing. You can't get mad when Dana White does this stuff. This is what got Dana the party. This is what made Dana White the promoter that he is. So I don't view this and go, oh, my God, this is crazy. That's Dana White being Dana White. At least he's sticking up for the fighters against haters and trolls. Although, damn, that man's got face pounded. I've definitely seen worse. So I'm assuming Dana's been reading it and just like, what the fuck this, man? And at Baby Balls was just the casualty. The casualty in this whole thing. So, you know what? He didn't at Baby Balls. I think it was just all of it, Yeah,
you're right. That's just a screenshot.
Oh, my bad. Here. Oh, gotcha.
But I mean, that's all they show here.
Gotcha. So, I mean, I don't have a problem with it. At least he's sticking up for the fighters. But, if you're investing in the company, if you're owner of the company, if it's any other company in the world, if it's YouTube, Facebook, NFL, NBA, MLB, you name it, you're going to have a tough time on your hands if the face of your company was tweeting like this. But that's what makes the UFC different. Mm-hmm. So I don't have a problem with it because he's sticking up for the fighters. And I'm sure, all the trolls out there. And this, again, that's why people love Dana White for certain things like this.
I find it entertaining.
I find Dana White entertaining. Mm. I wish he would do the scrums like he used to. he's more like Vince McMahon than he is Roger Goodell. He's somewhere in the middle, but he leans towards more Vince McMahon. He's even more hands-on than, a lot of these guys. And if you're on his good side, like Till-Cerrone is, he always has your back. So, again, it's the UFC. What else you got?
All right, let's check this. First of all, you did talk about the Mousasi fight a little bit, right, with Shlemenko?
Did I talk about him fighting the kid? I talked about the companion. I was just saying, Mousasi versus Shlemenko. Mm-hmm. Shlemenko's been a guy, I think, God, he hasn't lost in forever. He had the steroid accusation. His one loss came from Tito Ortiz, which, that was a tough one because you're talking about an older Tito. But Shlemenko's kind of been a, I don't want to say the face, but he's been a recognizable face for Bellator. And he's a tough customer. He's always, he's winning a ton, and you associate him with Bellator. His entire career has been with Bellator as far as the mainstream goes. So when Mousasi fought him, Mousasi's coming from, what was he, ranked top 5 in the UFC. He had his dispute with the UFC. He comes over to Bellator, and I think this is more of a point that Bellator's top guys can compete anywhere in the world. Yeah. Their top 5, besides like the champions of the UFC, their top 5 can compete in the UFC. They'd walk right in the UFC and be probably ranked similar, maybe 1 or 2 below or 1 or 2 above, but they're right there. The cream of the cream of the Bellator, they're tough customers, man. So with this guy, I think it's a combination of things. Mousasi comes over, it's his first fight, but with that many fights, ring rust or expectations, I don't think really play a part in it. His eye got, completely destroyed. He's fighting with one eye. And Shlemenko's he's good, man. He's just good. So if you're Bellator, you're glad Mousasi won. Because Shlemenko, he's not a star. He's never going to be a star. If you're not a star yet, it's not happening. When you've had that many fights, if you're not a star, it's just not happening. Mousasi's a guy who can fight like a Roy McDonald, can fight some of these other guys. Mousasi did not look good. I thought he lost that fight. I thought he lost the second and third round. They gave the nod to Shlemenko. I'm sorry, they gave the nod to Mousasi, but I didn't think that's the worst I've seen him fight in a long, long time. He looked off. Granted, he had one eye, but he looked lethargic. I know he's always a slow starter, but he just didn't look great. So what did he say? What is this?
Well, he's kind of barking back at the critics because he said what you said. Like, he got his orbital broken in the first round. So what did you expect him to do? And he wrote this line, or he said this line.
So he put, but he punched me right in the eye for the first minute. So I was fighting on instinct, trying to survive. It's true. He got Shlemenko faked a takedown and then blast him right in his goddamn eye. His eye was
so fast,
completely shut. So broken orbital's not fun. So I was fighting with one eye for almost 3 rounds, so it didn't go the way I wanted. But win is a win. To the haters, they can suck it. I have a pretty long one. That's hilarious.
It's so funny.
I have a pretty long one. They all can get in line and suck it. I have a pretty long one. They can all get in line and suck it. It's hilarious. Yeah. I'm trying to survive. I can't see anything. I was stumbling. I couldn't even walk. Fought 3 rounds. Yeah, I get it. Again, there's a reason why he looked so bad. Mousasi's one of the best middleweights in the world, hands down. He's been a staple for a long, long time. A staple, sorry, forever. He just looked bad. Maybe because he had one eye. We'll see what happens. Now, if the next fight he don't look good, well, then we got some issues. Look at that. He won 9 of his 12 UFC fights, including finishes over Weidman, Belfort, and Dan Henderson. So, you go in Shlemenko. Is Shlemenko as good as Weidman, Belfort, and Henderson? No, but with one eye, Shlemenko's a tough guy. You're going to have some issues. Mm-hmm. What else you got?
Let's take a look around. I saw this article too. So Shlemenko was going to appeal the loss. But the commission said, they don't even have an appeals process at that commission.
No,
so it's out the
those
window.
never work out. What else you got?
Okay. Aljamain Sterling and Jimmy Rivera's wife.
First of all, Jimmy Rivera's fighting Dominic Cruz, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is just a thing they have online, a beef they have online. And I don't know what the initial one was. Oh, here it is. So, and since you've won 2 and lost 2 in the UFC, but you're worthy. And she's replying to Aljamain Sterling. This is Rivera's wife.
Hold on. So so at Funkmaster_UFC, for sure don't put UFC in your Twitter handle, because what happens if you leave there, then you gotta restart. Anyways, at Funkmaster_UFC. So he put
There's a missing tweet here though.
Yeah, because he put, why do girlfriends always feel to jump in their man's fight? Then when they get insulted, they can't handle it. At Jimmy Rivera 135, really. So she must have said something to him earlier.
Yes.
And then she put, and since then you've won 2 and lost 2 in the UFC, but you're worthy. I'm assuming he was talking shit about Jimmy Rivera fighting Dominic Cruz. And she put, okay, since you're 2-2 in the UFC, you're worthy. And then
Sterling replied,
why do the girlfriends always feel he's missing a word there.
Feel the need
why do
to
girlfriends always feel the need to jump in their man's fight? When they get insulted, they can't handle it. At Jimmy Rivera 135, really? And then his wife responds, I'm his fucking wife, bitch. Middle finger. One, I'm a huge Jimmy Rivera fan. I think he's gonna. People ask me all the time who's guys to watch for, and I called Tony Ferguson. I've called some other guys. Jimmy Rivera is one of those guys. He's a nightmare to deal with. He's fighting Dominic Cruz. That's a tough go for Dominic Cruz, especially the long layoff. Now he's like an official employee of the UFC. All Jimmy Rivera's been doing is training. He just beat Uriah Faber. Jimmy Rivera is a motherfucker. That being, he would eat Aljamain Sterling up. So,
okay, that's what started it.
Oh, there's nobody in the top 10 for me to fight, Sterling said. So what I plan on doing, I'm going to try and take a dump on Ronnie Yaya. That's hilarious. Then I want to fight that fucking Jimmy Rivera. Yeah, well, you're not sniffing Jimmy Rivera if he beats Dominic Cruz, because the title fight would be next for Jimmy. I wouldn't want my girl, like, I'm his fucking wife, bitch.
That's why I brought this up.
You, bitch.
Yeah, that's why I brought this up.
That makes me stay out of it. I don't like that. I like that she has her man's back and she's a ride or die type of girl. That's great. It's just awkward.
Yeah, I would, if my girlfriend one day, if my girlfriend was trying to defend me online, it would piss me off so much.
Super cringy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like Steph Curry's wife, you see her
No.
like during the finals, and she's like, "This is bullshit," and she's going off. It's a tough go.
That's
like
gross.
I get you have your man's back and stuff like that. I don't know why. It just makes me cringe a little bit. But I'd rather have that than slide into Aljamain Sterling's DMs with a dick, an ass shot or something like that. So take it or leave it. What else you got?
Actually, take a look at this. So Gomi posted on his Instagram an old picture of the Pride Days.
Okay.
And he says, hashtag New Year's Eve, return to the ring of Japan soon.
Hashtag no. Hashtag stop. Hashtag please stop. New Year's Eve, no.
So that has to be Ryzen, right?
Yep. And that's the one our boy Uncle Creepy's in.
Yeah.
Uncle Creepy versus freaking Gomi.
Yeah, I want him to quit too, but oh well.
What else you got? Is that it?
One more. This guy, Gerald Harris.
I love Gerald Harris.
I didn't know he was retiring, but he had his retirement fight, and he won by slamming a guy, and the guy's arm ended up breaking.
He had another huge slam.
Yeah, in the UFC, right?
UFC, a huge slam.
Yeah, where he knocked him out, I think.
Yeah, let me see this. Oh.
And the guy already taps.
God damn.
So he tried to fall gracefully on one arm, and then it just went backwards.
Yeah, so if you guys can see the video, he gets, around it. He wraps both arms around his legs, picks him up to slam him, and homeboy braces himself by putting his arm out, and he just snaps. I wonder what. Good luck to Harris on whatever he does next, man.
Yeah, so he's
had some great knockouts. He's the Ultimate Fighter winner. He did win the Ultimate Fighter, right?
I don't remember.
Hold on, scroll down. I think it's in there. Go back up where there's text. Keep going up again.
Oh, so it was David
Right
Branch.
there. The Ultimate Fighter 7. Oh, he's a cast member. That's right. That's right. He didn't win.
And I think it says here it was David Branch, right?
He knocked out David Branch in the UFC. UFC 116. I fought on UFC 116. That's cool. Good for him. Shout out to him. Good luck with retirement, my man. Keep slamming people. Is that it?
That's it. And then we have the breakdown.
Go ahead. Just on this weekend's fight. So it's on Fox Sports 1.
FS1 main card.
FS1 main card. It starts at 7 p.m. Eastern. UFC Fight Night. It's a fun card. I always like these cards. I haven't looked too much into it. First, we got Lineker, who's a complete monster. I think Lineker's an underdog versus Marlon Vera. Is there odds out?
I'll take a look.
John Lineker's a little fucking freight train.
Yeah.
Here we go. So, oh no, Lineker's a huge favorite. What the fuck am I talking about? Rightfully so. So you got John Lineker. Love Lineker. You got Santos. That's a good fight. Trinaldo Miller. God, how about Trinaldo Miller doing the damn thing? Jim Miller just going strong. I love Jim Miller. Munoz Font. A lot of people are super high on Rob Font. Yeah. Listen, man, Pedro Munoz, he only loses to the elite of the elite. Other than that, he's a nightmare. I like Pedro Munoz in that. Is Pedro? Hold on, then we'll go
Go for it.
Yeah, so then you got Damian Maia, Colby Covington. Damian Maia's last fight fought for the title, right?
Yeah.
He fought Woodley, and
it was a decision loss.
That was a tough freaking go. That was a horrible, horrible fucking fight. Yeah. But to go from that to find Colby Covington, not that Colby's not an absolute monster and ranked number 7, but to go from fighting for the belt to fighting the number 7 guy, again, you're seeing a kind of a surge of these young lions, and Colby's one of those guys. I don't know what the odds are, but I don't like Colby's chances here. Colby's not a guy with one-punch knockout power. He's not a guy who can deal with Damian Maia on the ground. Damian Maia's fought a lot, so the weight cut, you got that at 70. This fight's at 70, so you got that at 70. If Damian Maia is not like in the best of shape because of all the weight cuts and he's fighting so frequently, it's in Brazil too. God, let me see the odds on this. Mm-hmm. Shit, Pedro Munoz is a underdog. I like Pedro. Colby's a minus 135 against Damian Maia in Brazil. Man, I like Damian Maia as a dog here. I'm a big fan of Colby Covington, and I hate making picks, and I know it pisses people off when I pick against them, but that's a tough outing, man, for Colby. You're talking about a Damian Maia before this won how many in a row? He's beaten some of the best guys in the world, and then you get Colby Covington. It's a huge opportunity for Colby, and I get why they're doing it. I don't think Damian Maia's like out at pasture yet. I think he has some fights left in him. I don't like that fight for Colby. I can't believe he's the favorite there. But he's a favorite for a reason. But I always like to pick a dog. I would parlay Damian Maia and Pedro Munoz. That's what I like in that. And then you got Machida. Well, fuck, man. Then you got Brunson versus Lyoto Machida. It's Machida 2-year layoff. His last fight was a while. I think the last time he won, he beat Bader. Oh, no. Hold on. Don't tell me. Dalloway. CB Dalloway's last fight he won.
Yep.
So he hasn't won since 2014. His last fight, he got knocked out by Yoel Romero, elbows, 2015. He hadn't fought, 2-year layoff. They had that. He's had a tough go. He had that amazing fight with Chris Weidman. Then he beat Dalloway, then got murked by Rockhold, murked by Yoel Romero. Let me see the odds. God damn. I don't know what 3-fight parlay with Machida is a dog, Damian Maia is a dog, and Pedro Munoz is a dog. Listen, I know I'm picking all the Brazilians here. And since you saw this kicked in, the Brazilians haven't exactly been blowing my hair back. But Lyoto Machida and Derek Brunson, a guy he's been around forever, he's not that young. This isn't a young line type of thing here. This is 2 vets between Derek Brunson and Machida. And Brunson's biggest issue is, unless he can out-grapple Machida, I've grappled Machida. Machida's a black belt. He's a fucking monster. He's also very tough to take down. We've seen that. Brunson's going to have to open up and rush in again like he did Whitaker. I don't think he's going to have the same respect that he had when he fought Anderson Silva, so he is going to open up. And technically he's not the the most elite striker. Lyoto Machida is a better striker. Lyoto Machida is better on the ground. That 2-year layoff would be the only knock on Lyoto Machida, but I don't see how Brunson wins this fight. Unless Machida's just so past his prime, he doesn't show up, and Derek Brunson lands one on him. Machida's super chinny after those, the Yoel Romero and Luke Rockhold loss. If we get some version of that prime Machida, I think Machida wins. I think Damian Maia gets the submission, and I think Pedro Munoz gets the decision win. And those are all dogs. You make some money off that. Who knows, though? Remember, I'm biased as fuck. I love Machida's training partner for a long time. Munoz trained with him. So, again, I'm always biased. But just money, I like all those 3 dogs. Is that it, man?
That's it.
It's a good fight card. We're bringing fan questions for the first time ever to the Big Brown Brizeg Down. Thank you guys for all you that sent questions. Obviously, I can't. I think we had almost 1,000 questions. I can't answer the 1,000 questions. So I have MJ and Chin pick the questions. So throw heat at them, not me, for not answering your questions. Let's knock out a few here. I have no idea what they're going to ask, so bear with us. But I think we'll see how this goes, and maybe we'll keep fan questions. We'll make it a regular thing. But yeah, see how this goes. Appreciate all you guys going to my Instagram. We're only going to do it on Instagram. We'll probably do it Monday nights. If this is a thing, I'll post on Monday nights. So by Tuesday morning, we have all the questions. There's some good ones. Then there's obviously the weird ones. The ones that are, whose dick is bigger, who'd win a fight between Joe Rogan and Brian Kelly, all that stuff will never get answered, so don't waste your time. Before you send the questions, there's no one I want to fight. There's none of that. I don't talk about ex-girlfriends, current girls' proms, none of that. So when you send your questions, keep that in mind. But I love you guys who sent the questions, and let's get to it.
Go for it, MJ.
Go ahead, MJ.
Okay. Boo Boo Sketch said, why do you think they don't show scores at the end of rounds? I feel the upside of showing scores significantly outweighs the downside.
I agree. I would like to see the scores. I think it would be better, and I also think the cornermen could go, oh shit, we thought you were up. You actually go in, you have to win this and to win this fight. Mm-hmm. So I agree. I don't see a lot of cons with that. I don't mind doing what boxing does, where you have an unofficial scorecard, because now it's kind of very like hearsay, like Rogan, like, who knows? They kind of have to stay neutral. Like you'll see like Anik or, Dominic Cruz or DC, like, I think I give that round to this guy, but I think you could designate someone who's not in the arena, who's watching it on TV, which typically is a better way to watch a fight, so you can see more angles and it's more clear. And I think they should, and they're going to be experts, but you have to have the same guy every time. I don't know who that is, but it has to be the expert who knows the fight game, and he scores it by round.
That'd be cool if they actually tried that out, at least try it out.
I don't know why you wouldn't. Good question, though. At, what was it, Boo Boo?
Boo Boo Sketch.
All right.
Okay. I know you've touched base a little bit about this, but there was a couple comments regarding this. Damian Smith _RF said, Dana White said on the last episode of The Ultimate Fighter that the UFC treats their fighters better than any other organization on the planet. That no matter what stories you hear, no other company treats their fighters better. What do you think about this? Obviously, Bellator isn't as big as the UFC, but I've heard some pretty good things about how they treat their fighters. Do you think, this is kind of a multi-part, do you think your MMA career would have been better or worse if it were now in Bellator and not in the UFC?
So when Dana says we treat fighters better than any organization, he's referring to just fighting, right? Just Bellator, World Series. He's not talking about NFL, NBA, all that.
No, just fighting. Yeah.
Just fighting? Yeah. They're not in the same ballpark with those sports. However, with fighting, treating the fighters better, it depends. I think when you say treating the fighters better, I mean, there's fighters on the roster who he's never met or never spoke to or never even heard of. If they walked past him, he wouldn't know. So I'm sure those guys would have a different viewpoint on that. It depends. It depends if you're a draw, if you're a winner, if you're, what can you do for them? It's going to be how you're treated in your experience in any professional sport league. But really in the UFC, I really think if you did a survey and you did guys who had a successful career and were pay-per-view draws compared to guys who were just in the middle tier, you're going to have completely different viewpoints. As far as Bellator, I don't know if that's a fair comparison because, especially if you go over the grand scheme of things, Scott Coker just got to Bellator. He's been there 3 years and he's doing great things. I think overall those guys would say that, but when you're talking about the machine that the UFC is, it's just it depends who you are in every league, whether you're World Series, whether UFC, whether you're Bellator. It just depends how successful you were. For me, his question was, do I think my career would be different if I was in Bellator?
If you were in Bellator, yeah. If you were competing in a Bellator. Yeah. And what it is.
Again, what have you done for me lately? Scott Coker's a great guy, but if you're not winning, you're not exciting. It doesn't matter, So, if I was winning UFC, I'm sure Dana would be great to me. If I was winning Bellator, I'm sure Scott would be great to me. I don't think anything would really change. If you're winning and you have everyone knows this, but the UFC hype machine, the UFC machine, if you're a star, you're going to get more exposure opposed to if you're a star in Bellator right now. It's just how it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, if let's say I was ranked number 2 in the world at heavyweight and fighting for the heavyweight title, yeah, the UFC would, definitely put me out there more than opposed to Bellator.
Okay.
But to sum that up, all that you have to win. Just win, baby. Just win.
Next question. _Insta_brew_. Do you think the older Do you think the older MMA fighters like Cowboy, Hunt, or Lawler need to hang up their gloves before they get seriously hurt? And should the UFC implement some sort of rule to help protect their fighters' longevity after fighting? Now you kind of touch base on how they bring them out, but
so do I think guys like Hunt, Cowboy, and these older fighters the UFC should like?
And there was several comments regarding about Hunt, Lawler, and Cowboy retiring. So do you think they should hang up their gloves?
Oh, so it's a 2-part. Do I think they should hang him up, and do I think the UFC should be responsible for it?
Yeah, the multi-part question.
You can never. It's a personal decision. A lot of people don't think I should have hung him up. Yeah. If you ask Hunt, he wants to go out and shield. I just talked to Shane Carwin the other day. He goes, man, I wish I could die in the octagon. Carlos Condit has said the same things. I think Mike Perry refers to, you're talking about these warriors. It's a personal decision. Now, that being said, when you're inflicting bodily harm and you're a shell of what you used to be, they shouldn't put guys out there like that. But Donald's not one of those guys. Hunt's not one of those guys. But when you're starting to see some signs, it's tough because, as a fan, us as fans, we go, oh, no, we don't want to see you get hurt. We don't want to see you down the road. And I'm sure you ask those fighters, if you were to retire today, what would you be doing? Then you're like, I would rather fight for the next 3 years and suffer brain trauma than retire right now and I'll have shit to do, man. Like, this is what I signed up for. I know how dangerous it is. Go fuck yourself. Mm. It's a personal decision.
Okay.
Did that answer it?
I think that answers it, yeah. Tanner Bender said, if McGregor loses his next fight, no matter who it is, because I know he talked about Ferguson or Nate, what does he do after that?
So if McGregor were to fight, let's just, for argument's sake, say his next fight's in the UFC, which I think most likely it is. If McGregor is to lose his next fight, see, it doesn't work if you say whoever it is, because if McGregor were to lose to Tony Ferguson for the 155 title, he can fight Nate next, and that there's no belt on the line. That fight doesn't need a belt. Yeah. So if you were to lose to Ferguson and then fight Nate, that's what's next, because that's why Nate should be the next, not the next fight, but the next fight. No matter what, no matter what he does, Nate Diaz shouldn't be next because that's never going anywhere. That fight's going to sell whether it's for a belt or not. Yeah. Tony fights not. If Tony's not the champ, we cannot sell that fight. So you take advantage of that he has the belt, and you fight him to legitimize the 155 lightweight title of the world.
Yeah.
So Tony Ferguson should be next. That Nate fight's not going anywhere. So if you were to lose to Tony, then you still have Nate. We'd still watch. It's still a huge draw. You get money anyway.
Yeah. I know you broke this down like 2 weeks ago. You went into depth about all this too.
Yeah, it's just, for Conor, this next fight's the biggest fight of his lifetime.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me rephrase that, because every fight's big. However, for Conor's legacy, the biggest fight he's ever had was the Floyd Mayweather. But, I mean, his fight against fucking Chad Mendez, if he doesn't win that fight, he's not here. So every fight's big. But the Floyd Mayweather one is life-changing where it doesn't matter what he does. It doesn't matter. It doesn't affect his life anymore. As far as fight legacy, to never defend a belt, that's why the fight with Tony Ferguson's the biggest fight in his life.
That's the only fight, Anna.
It's the only fight.
Yeah.
It's the only fight he can do.
There you go.
What else you got?
Rob_bar1 said, what do you think of Darren Till versus Stephen Thompson, Wonderboy?
Wonderboy has a hell of a matchup against Masvidal. The winner of that, I don't mind. But again, too much too soon. It's just, let's not throw him right up there right away. A Mike Perry, there's a lot of other fights, in the top 10 he can get before he just jumps in those top 3. Those will be there. And if I'm Darren Till, I don't want those because I'm being paid shit right now. Let me fight these tough guys, but not super elite of the elite where I'm not going to make any money. Let me fight these tough guys, get through them, restructure my contract, and then start taking aim at the top 5. So I get paid like a top 5 guy.
Okay. EP Laddie said, now that Demetrius Johnson has a title defense record, should he move up in weight and fight the winner of the Cody Garbrandt and TJ Dillashaw?
For Mighty Mouse, again, it's a personal decision. To me, I'd love to see him take super fights. I think it's the only way he's really going to make money and become a UFC superstar. He's a star now. He's the greatest fighter on the planet. He's the greatest 125er of all time, bar none. He's pound for pound number 1. But he's just not a star. Like, he walks in the office right now, no one's stopping him. So for him to translate to stardom, he's going to have to take those super fights. Now, does he want to do that, or does he want to put that record at 125, the most title defense of all time, so far out of reach, which he could do? No one's ever going to beat him there, ever, for the next 10 years. So he might just want to put that so far out of reach and say, fuck everyone else. I don't care. I like my life. I'm going to keep making good paydays. I don't care if I'm a superstar. I don't care if I sell shirts. I don't care if I get recognized on the streets. It's a personal decision. But what I would do if I were him, probably take the super fight, the winner of TJ Cody. Okay. Give me 2 more.
The top or bottom?
I'll take a look at it.
I've been reading my questions, but...
Yeah, no worries.
There's one right... Let's see.
Oh, let me ask you this then.
Okay.
You're going to hate this one, I'm sure.
Oh, great.
Harley_Matthews. Who out of the Fight Companion squad would you rather be stuck on a desert island with? Out of all those guys.
Between Eddie, Rogan, and Brian, although Brian hasn't done one forever.
Yeah.
Definitely not Eddie, because the conspiracies, he'd go crazy, and we don't agree on those things. He's entertaining, but that would get old after a while. Rogan has such a wealth of knowledge as far as like the people he's interviewed, and we obviously could talk fighting till we're blue in the face. And he's like a hunter. He's like a tough outdoors dude, which I'm not. So he's going to be able to build shit. He's like a dude's dude. Yeah. Brian would bullshit most of the stories, but he'd be really entertaining. But Brian's not an outdoor guy either, so you can't have 2 non-outdoor guys trying to survive on the goddamn island. Brian doesn't know how to build a house, start a fire, hunt. Rogan knows how to hunt, build a fire, and all that shit. So Rogan for sure.
Rogan.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Is that it?
You got one, MJ? You want me to? You got
Go
it.
ahead.
You got it?
Yeah.
All right, last one, I guess. Notorious Griffey. Given the current lack of UFC stars, who would you put on the cover of the next EA Sports UFC game?
When's it come out is the question.
Let's say
Next year?
End of this year? Oh yeah, let's say next year.
I would put on either Joanna Jędrzejczyk or I have a few. I might put a few on there, but I put either Joanna on there, the winner of TJ Cody, God damn, there's not a lot of stars, is there?
I thought Cody was it. But then if
the winner,
TJ
Cody
wins,
TJ, then you put the winner of that on. You know, Joanna, if she were to beat Rose. Or, no, you know what I do? I'd put, if Tony Ferguson were to beat McGregor, I'd put Tony Ferguson on it. But again, who knows when that's going to happen. It's tough because you're waiting on like all this stuff. So it just depends on all these matchups. But, God, when you think about it, there's not a whole lot of draw power, is there? Yeah, I mean, because you have a case, Mighty Mouse could be on there. He's also huge into video games. Yeah. You have Mighty Mouse. You have Joanna. You have Amanda Nunes. You could have, you know, if Holly Holm were to beat Cyborg, you could have Holly Holm on there because I think if she beats Cyborg, you have an argument. She's the greatest female fighter of all time. You know, Stipe doing his thing at heavyweight, but he's just not a very charismatic, you know, big draw. You got DC, but the John Jones losses, so he's off there. For whatever reason, Woodley's not translating with people. So it's a lot of ifs. Winner of TJ Cody, or I put Joanna on there. I'd invest a lot in Joanna because she has the skills. Amanda Nunes is a great story. Not a lot of either. But DJ just built, you know, he beat the. But again, if DJ's not a superstar yet, it's never happening unless he takes these super fights, and then even then, who knows? But that's the only potential he has to become a superstar. So when you've defended the belt that many times and you're still not mainstream, it's never happening.
Yeah.
Until you get a foe like, you know, Aldo had with McGregor, you get, you know, something like Cody and TJ have. But you look at that, it's going to be tough. I mean, pick your poison, I guess. I think nothing's flying off the shelves unless you put Conor on there.
I think you're spot on with Joanna, though, as far as for the women's side.
I think as far as any man or woman, I put Joanna on there. I think she has the most, you know, star quality. The way she's murking girls, she has a tough fight against Rose, but I look at that, there's not a whole lot on there. Is that it?
That's it.
All right, guys. I feel like was this a long one?
It's pretty long.
Yeah.
2 hours.
Solid.
Pretty long. All right. Thank you for listening. Hopefully you guys get some strong-ass coffee like I did. I'm at the Comedy Store tonight. Next Friday, I'm at Calusa Casino. That is NorCal. Come see me. I will be doing an hour plus of stand-up. It will be a great time. And then I am in Columbus, Nashville for 2 nights. And I'm missing one. So I am, here we go. I go Calusa Casino, November 3rd. I'm in Charlotte on the 9th for 1 night. That is a Thursday night. Then I'm in Zany's, Nashville. I love Zany's. Nashville, Tennessee, November 10th and the 11th. That is a Friday, Saturday night. Then I'm in Columbus at the Funny Bone in Ohio. Columbus, Ohio, Funny Bone. And then November 30th, I'm at the Ontario Improv. That's the Inland Empire, California. Baby. And then Buffalo, December, my first full weekend. Buffalo, December 14th through the 16th. I'm in Buffalo, New York. Get tickets right now. tfatk.com. Nashville, Columbus, Charlotte. Get them right now. Calusa. See you next Friday. As always, bigger, browner, badder. I'm Brendan Schaub. Thanks for listening.